Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video we will be covering 2 and 3-point perspective. What you're going to need is a large pad of drawing paper, a pencil, an eraser, and a ruler. And let's get on with the drawing. Okay, the first section we are going to be focusing on is going to be the 2-point perspective. Where the 1-point perspective and the 2-point perspective differ is that with 1 point you're seeing one side of an object in the front, where 2-point you're seeing the corner of something or two sides of it. So the first thing we need to do always is to set up our horizon line. Now again, the difference 1 or 2 point. With 1 point, we would set up 1 point. With 2, we're going to set up 2 points. You can have these 2 points anywhere on the line, but furthest away from each other as possible is the best. So I have one here, vanishing point, and I have one here, vanishing point. Now there are going to be no real horizontal lines. All the horizontal lines are going to either go back to this point or to this point, depending upon which side of the picture they're on. All right, so let's set up a corner of the building. So every time you draw in 2-point perspective, you're going to the same thing as as 1 point. You're going to be bringing back each of the lines to the horizon, or to the horizon line and to the vanishing point. All right, so as you can see here, it looks like I have two sides that are going back and descending back into space. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to define the edges of the building like this. And I'm going to make 2 more vertical lines. And we are going to erase back to the vanishing point. All right, so we basically created a big cube-like shape or a form. If you're dealing with a 2-dimensional object, it's a shape. If it's a 3-dimensional object, it's a form. So what we could do, let's say if this is a large building and our light source is coming from here, light source, then it's going to cast a shadow this way on this side. So we can put all this in shadow, and it's also going to create a shadow using perspective too, like this. And all of this is going to be in shadow as well. Now, if you're creating a cylindrical thing, the top of it, if it's a circle, is going to be like this, if it's above the horizon line. If it's below the horizon line, the arc of the circle is going to be like this. All right, that's it for the 2-point perspective. We'll move on to the 3-point perspective in just a moment. Hi guys, all right, so this is going to be the 3-point perspective demonstration. What I did first was that I set up my paper. With 3-point perspective, it's a little bit more difficult than 2-point perspective because you're dealing with an extra point, but you're also having to create more space around the drawing itself to deal with that extra point. So same thing, we'll start off the drawing with the horizon line. I'm going to put it up near the top of the page. The higher up you have your horizon line, the higher up in space you are. It's a little bit crooked. The lower your horizon line is on the ground, the lower you are on the ground. All right. So I'm going to set up my points again. I'm going to put one here, one here, and I'm also going to put a third point down here. You're basically creating a triangle with these points. All right, so again, one here, and one here. And we're going to be doing another a city scene. This city scene is going to be from a bird's eye point of view. Once more, if I put this horizon line lower on the ground, it would be from a worm's eye point of view. So let's get started. Now again, the difference between 2- and 3-point perspective is going to be that all of your vertical lines are going to come down to this third vanishing point. So let's set up one here. And this is the end of my building here. So I'm going to set up here and here. So I'm just going to pick 2 arbitrary points on these 2 lines to create the edges of the building. What I'm going to do with these points here is I'm going to bring them down to this third vanishing point. And it's going to create this illusion of depth from above. And then I'm going to bring 2 extra lines coming from these 2 vanishing points to create the top of this square roof. All right, then we can erase from here back. While trying not to tear this newsprint paper, it's pretty old and yellowed, and it's very fragile. All right. So let's say we wanted to create another building. Let's assume this is from the viewpoint of a bird. Bird's eye point of view. Seems to make sense. Let's make one that's smaller, somewhere down here. All right, so I'm just going to pick a random spot. And I'm going to create this time 2 lines. And again, I'm going to be joining them. And another one right here. Now you don't have to always draw from these points all the way back. It does tend to take away a lot of the erasing if you don't draw it all the way back. So it's a good thing to keep in mind if you're working on something that's very detailed and you don't want to have a bunch of eraser marks or have to just do a lot of erasing. As long as you line up your ruler, it tends to work out pretty favorably. So we can erase these back. And then we're going to be bringing these points here and here, or the corners of this shape, to the third vanishing point. Now it may look pretty funny, but that's actually correct. It just is what it is. Now, again, and I may not have mentioned this in the first point perspective video, but perspective was created by an artist to show three-dimensional shapes on a two-dimensional surface. Our pad of paper is a two-dimensional plane. It has length and it has width. With 3 dimensions, or with perspective, we're creating a third dimension within a two-dimensional space. So it might not always work out perfectly, but generally you're going to know whether or not it does. And if something just doesn't look right, change it, alter it. You know, there's no right way or real wrong way to do something. There is either whether it looks good or whether it doesn't. So if it doesn't, change it. Doesn't matter. All right, that's pretty much it for this video. I will have some sample sheets for this if you need more help, and you can always come to me. All right.